Welcome back for the second half of our fabulous day at the International Women's Festival today. Is everyone enjoying themselves so far? All right. Let's remember to breathe throughout the day. So right now, I know we've been doing a lot of sitting, we've been doing some eating, we've been walking around and shopping. Let's take a big breath. Let that out. That's enough. Get ready to experience an amazing panel of women. From homeless to Hollywood, we have an incredible array of speakers this afternoon. And I want to introduce Deborah Hutchinson, who is not only a personal friend of mine, she is also truly a gutsy gal. And she has founded the Gutsy Gal Awards. And she not only thinks outside of the box, she thinks in diamonds. So I am very pleased to introduce Deborah. Please enjoy the panel.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for that wonderful introduction. Can you hear me? No. No? Am I on now? Now I'm on. I am Deborah Hutchinson from Gutsy Gals Inspire Me, and it is always our pleasure at the company to bring out incredible ladies who have done very interesting things, who've had the courage to do things that maybe you and I would not try to do. And so, as many times as I can, I am so happy to be able to introduce a panel that is so talented and so courageous in so many different areas. Each one of these panel members is just going to take about 5 minutes just to tell you maybe a gutsy story or a little bit about themselves, or tell you what they're doing now, because I can tell you what they're doing now is very courageous. It's very gutsy. We have everyone from Lisa Hickerson, who is my buddy, and Lisa is a homeless advocate. But you have to understand that this beautiful woman was homeless, and it has nothing to do. Well, I don't want to say it. Maybe you're saying it. Okay, so let's start out with Lisa Hickerson, and she's just going to tell you a little bit about herself, and thank you, Lisa.
Hello. When I was homeless, I felt isolated, stigmatized, and vulnerable. While I felt watched and judged, I also felt invisible. My nights were very long and terrifying. The journey to become housed was overwhelming and heartbreakingly hard, and it took me 3 years. Yet on my journey to find a home, I experienced quite a few random miracles from people I refer to as anonymous American angels. In January 2006, the first angel appeared on my first night sleeping outside. I slept behind a closed business wrapped in pieces of cardboard and newspapers. A rather big man sporting a mohawk, leather jacket, and combat boots approached me carrying a box. As I got up to run away, he said, "Wait a minute, I'm here to help you. I have a sleeping bag for you." He placed the box on the ground between us and silently walked away. Inside the box was a brand new top-of-the-line Coleman sleeping bag with a zip-out fleece blanket and built-in pillow with a bag to carry it all in. As I got in and zipped up, I looked at the stars and thanked God for the punk rock angel. I tended to sleep only in the daytime, choosing park playgrounds for safety. I once woke to find a Subway sandwich and a bottle of water next to me. I was so happy and grateful because this angel would never know. It would be one of the rare nights I would walk through the night with a full stomach. On one of my children's birthdays, I sat on a bus bench and I cried long and loudly because my children had been taken from me. A man passed by me once, twice, and on the third pass, he stopped in front of me and said, "Lady, please don't cry. Here, this is for you," and he handed me 2 tins of sardines. I thought it a rather odd remedy for a sobbing woman. As I placed the tins in my backpack, I discovered a $20 bill. It would be the first time in a year that I would be able to do laundry. While living on a beach here in Santa Barbara, a woman in a Lexus approached me, handing me a bag of groceries. She explained, "I've seen you alone out here for quite some time." The bag contained many packages of dried fruit, cans of tuna and chicken, a can opener, bread, bottles of water, and vitamins. She said, "It's not much, but I hope it helps." I jumped up and thanked her profusely as she walked away. I yelled after her, "Hey, what's your name so I can pray for you?" She just smiled and said, "Your thanks is enough. Take care." So I said, "Then I'll just have to pray for you as my anonymous American angel." Again, she smiled, tapped her horn, and waved as she drove away. I've never forgotten any of the kindness shown to me. These stories illustrate the many unconditional gifts of love that expected nothing of me in return. They were seeds of hope in the garden of my heart. I thank God on a daily basis for the anonymous American angels that helped me improve the quality of my life until I was able to do it for myself. So many generous angels gave me more than physical gifts. They also gave me the gifts of visibility and value and hope when I had none. I've been off the streets for more than 5 years now, but my journey is far from over. The lessons in kindness and my experiences on the street are living seeds of hope for me now to plant in others' gardens, to plant in those that are listening and learning about homelessness, and in those that are living in homelessness. I collect clothing, blankets, and hygiene products all year long for my homeless friends. I really appreciate these donations in the rain and winter. What items? Any items you would appreciate having in the rain and cold weather would be my answer. I may not be so anonymous after all these years, but I am the angel that sees, hears, and very much cares for my homeless brothers and sisters. The angels are still out there, giving of their time, treasures, and talents. They're people like you and me. With a blanket or a sleeping bag, clean white socks, or unused hotel hygiene products. I've had many people thank me for a kindness I showed them years ago that convinces me that it is the little things the angels do that helps a person to start to find a way home. My name is Lisa, and I'm an anonymous American angel. Thank you.
So, what Lisa didn't tell you, and we're encouraging Lisa to write a book, and we're going to help her. And she's going to write her American Anonymous Angel, because she's a good girl. Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Oh my God, that's a really tough one to follow. But we have so many incredible ladies. Thank you, baby. We have so many. So Jennifer Conrad, if you've ever thought, Jennifer Conrad is a vet, but if you've ever thought of taking the nails out of your cat's paws, you have to listen to Jennifer, and she's going to talk about, she's going to talk about a documentary that she made. Are you a documentarian?
Well, I'm a one-hit wonder.
Okay, take it away, Jennifer. Jennifer Conrad, please, with the Paws Project.
My name is Jennifer Conrad, and I am an exotic animal veterinarian. I work in Hollywood, believe it or not, on set. And so when you see a movie like The Hangover and there are tigers in it, I'm often behind the scenes with a dart gun. Or if you just recently saw the Super Bowl where there was a little puppy and a Clydesdale who met and were in love, I was working on that commercial as well. But in this capacity as a veterinarian for exotic animals, at one point I had about 40 big cats who had been declawed. Now, declawing sounds like a fancy manicure. Let me assure you, it is not. It is the absolute amputation of the last bone in a cat's toes. It doesn't matter if it's a tiger or a domestic cat, it is amputating bone. And when I had these 40 big cats who were all suffering from being declawed, they were lame, some of them were walking on their wrists, some of them were actually walking on their elbows, I thought to myself, what is going on here? Am I the only person who sees how horrible this is? And I went to other veterinarians and they said, well, that's just what happens when you declaw a cat. And I said, you know what? I love animals and I love cats. This cannot be okay. I started doing research. I found out that it's illegal or considered so unethical that they don't even need a law in the rest of the world. This is an operation that is illegal in Croatia, that bastion of human rights. Cats cannot be declawed there. And in the United States and Canada, 25% of cats are being declawed, and they are losing their homes because of it. A declawed cat is more likely to lose its home because it will have behavior problems after being declawed. Declawing is, as I said, amputating the bones. So when the cat comes home from the vet, goes to use the litter box, says, I'm not ever going in there again because it hurts. And because they've been robbed of their primary defense, they begin to bite. So they lose their homes at a rate of 2 to 1 because they were declawed. So it does nobody any good. And so I started documenting a repair surgery that I kind of came up with some human hand surgeries we started filming the big cats, the tigers and the lions, after they had their paws repaired. And it was remarkable to see these cats go from what we call grade 5 lameness, which is basically non-weight bearing, to being a grade 0 or 1. I mean, they were walking again. It's like they had new shoes. They felt like they had new shoes, and they were running around. It was a whole different life for them. So I started documenting this, and the film that I was using, people started to hear about it. One day, I had repaired the paws on a lion named Marla, a lioness, and from an African lioness, and she wouldn't let me take her bandages off. And I think it's because she woke up and she felt like her paws felt so much better. I can't have those. And visiting me that day at the sanctuary I was working at was the deputy to the mayor of West Hollywood, which I didn't know anything about West Hollywood really. And I kind of flippantly said to him, hey, why don't we make it illegal in West Hollywood to declaw cats? And he said, that's a good idea. And that changed my life forever, because since then we've been on a crusade to protect cats. We've been able to make it illegal to declaw cats in 8 California cities, including Los Angeles and San Francisco. And we were able to make big cats protected in the state of California. And we were able to change the way the USDA, which is the governing body over all the big cat exhibitors like Siegfried and Roy, they no longer accept animals being declawed. So we've been able to make giant inroads, and it is documented in this documentary, which is recently came out a few months ago. It's called The Paw Project, after my 501c3, and I'm really happy to report it will be on Netflix on June 1st.
Ah! All right, Gutsy and Gutsy, 2 different ways, but you guys had to do a lot to get to doing that documentary, didn't you? Okay, Razia, question. You are a 2012 CNN hero. That's pretty big. Did it change your life? Tell us why you won the award.
Good afternoon to all, and I'm so honored to be here, really. Well, it did change my life, but it changed my girl's life in school, because whatever happened, I think it's because of them that over 400 girls are getting educated in an area that they were not allowed to go to school. And we are growing beautifully. And this year we'll have our 11th grade from kindergarten. So I think it changed because my focus is 100% towards really making better the education for these girls that I feel so responsible. Every day we face threat. We face that something terrible might happen in the school. But again, just looking at their face and for them to get educated and to be happy when they come to school, I think I have great hope, and I think I just cannot believe it, the day that the first of my girls will graduate, which would be 2015. I think I might just croak there, right there. Because I'm taking so much, really keeping everything together and trying to go forward, really, under all these odds and threats and worry about the girls. But I don't show them that. I show that there is great future for them in that community and outside the community. It is not really having girls educated, it's just educating the whole community, which were so negative about girls even stepping out of their home. So for me to start a school, to build a school, every step I had to face great opposition from men, because I think, I don't know if anybody knows about this, but in those villages and those communities, when you ask a man how many children you have, he will have like 6 girls and 4 boys. He'll never mention the girls. He will say 4 boys. He'll never talk about his wife. He will talk about her as an object, like household thing. So to change that and to bring these men holding the hand of their daughters to school and being proud of it, I think that's what I think my efforts are to do. Of course, financial help is, without that we couldn't do it. And you know, this was such a good exposure for us in many ways. You know, the first year we did fundraising, I think the whole year I could collect like $5,000. And every month the cost of that school was $3,000. But I was really trying to keep it going with help of friends. But as time passed, I think people have trust. This is the 7th year of the school. And I think it was not easy to be one of the heroes of CNN. It took them 2 years to investigate. Everybody that I knew, everybody that I had any contact with, and I had no idea. So it's something that I think it's proven that what we are doing or I'm doing with a group of people, I have great support from a lady here. Her name is Patty Quigley. She's my executive director. You know, she has gone through hell on 9/11. She lost her husband in one of the towers. But she changed her focus and said that let's educate the girls in Afghanistan so they won't suffer what their mothers and their grandmothers suffered.
Thank you.
So I think that's something great that CNN did, exposed us and gave us great opportunity to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What I didn't mention to tell you is that Razi has a school, and the school is in Afghanistan. So that I could see everybody trying to figure out, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
What a courageous thing to do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kelly LeBrock. Kelly LeBrock has lived the Hollywood life, and she continues on. She's been involved with a lot of different movies. She's been involved with a lot of different people. She's been up, she's been down. She is always gutsy. Kelly LeBrock.
Hello. There's some very powerful stories here. You know, most people think when you're a celebrity it's all roses and champagne, and it's not. I came from a very, very violent background. I quite often needed stitches when I was a kid. But that's how you grew up in those days. When I was 16, I was raped for the first time. I have been raped a number of times. If they can't have you, they steal you. But I always kept my smile, but I never forgot. And I always remembered the ladies that have been raped and have been beaten and have been hurt. And so I've written a book, about 27 chapters. I just finished it a few weeks ago. And I hope that my story will inspire other people that have been abused to not be bitter, because bitterness does not help anybody. It's sort of an evil thing. It's insidious. It makes people sick. The only way we can have healing is to have forgiveness. I really don't like speaking publicly, but it's really an honor and a pleasure to be here with these lovely ladies, so thank you.
Thank you. Kelly LeBrock. Barbara Liss. Barbara is a paralegal. Barbara is that 2 legals because you're a paralegal? Is that 2 legals? Barbara is going to explain what a paralegal is, and she is an advocate for the paralegals, and she's an advocate for the elderly. So Barbara Liss, gutsy gal.
Thank you. Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, the next speaker's running late?
In California, we have a law on the books defining what a paralegal is in California. California is the only state in the union that has a law on the books defining what a paralegal is. That law was created in 2001, and the definition that's incorporated in that law was partially taken from the National Federation of Paralegal Associations law definition that I helped to write in the 1980s. My involvement in defining what a paralegal is goes back to the 1970s. And I have been advocating the definition of a paralegal from the very early 1970s. The definition being incorporated into the law in California that exists now is both a blessing and a curse, because the California law on what a paralegal is requires that California paralegals may only work for attorneys and may not render services directly to the public. A lot of people are under a misconception that they can go to a paralegal and get legal advice, and that's simply not true in California. And so I have a passion to create the opportunity for the public to get direct services from paralegals in California who have a standard that is established by this law, which is the blessing. And that is that paralegals have a minimum requirement for legal education. We get the same kind of legal education that lawyers get: legal research, legal writing, and much of what lawyers learn in law school, paralegals learn. Paralegals are masters of procedural law, while lawyers are masters of substantive law. And both components of law are required in order to get through the legal system, which is very complicated. But in California, paralegals can only work for lawyers. There's also something called a legal document assistant in California, and one who is a legal document assistant must first be a paralegal. My goal is for the creation of a limited licensure, limited license legal technician, which is presently before the State Bar of California, and for the public to be aware that that is a possibility, so that qualified, skilled, knowledgeable, and experienced paralegals may become limited license people, so that we can render services directly to the public in certain circumstances, under limited circumstances, and provide services to people who can't afford a lawyer, like the elderly, like 80% of the people who are in family law court right now who are self-represented, most of whom are women, and can't afford a lawyer, like landlord-tenant people who are mostly tenants and can't afford a lawyer, like people who need to have their criminal records expunged and can't afford a lawyer, and on and on and on, and many of whom won't find a lawyer who can take their case. There are lots of personal injury circumstances where their case is worth $5,000 or less, and a lawyer won't take their case, and they have to deal with insurance companies. And paralegals could help them, but we have duct tape over our mouths because the State Bar of California won't permit us to give legal advice. So I work with a lot of elders in the practice I work with, and I work with a very fine lawyer who would love for me to meet with those people directly and get him out of the loop and allow me to give them advice with regard to advanced health care directives, for example, or simple wills. And I can't meet with them because of this prohibition in the law. So that's my soapbox. That's the goal I have.
But that's pretty gutsy. You're going up against
And I have
the big boys.
testified in the California State Senate Judiciary twice now. I intend to do it again, and I intend to go up against the State Bar of California. Please help me do it.
Wow. All right, and at the other end over here is Marla McNally Phillips. She's been gutsy all of her life, and I've known her for a good part of her life. So I'm going to turn it over to Marla. She is embarking on yet another gutsy adventure. Marla McNally Phillips.
Thank you, Deborah. And I'm quite inspired to be on this fabulous panel with these amazing women, inspirational women. So thank you for having me here. I'm not sure that I'm as courageous as I think my topic is. I'm the lead producer on a show that I'm taking to Broadway this year, actually off Broadway, the Little Schubert Theater. We are having our table read on Monday, so I'm leaving here momentarily. But the subject matter it's called Under My Skin. And the subject matter is sex, love, and healthcare. So the reason that I was so inspired, because I've never produced a Broadway show before, or an off-Broadway show. We had Under My Skin in Pasadena. I produced that show 2 years ago. We opened up the Pasadena Playhouse. In my real life, which I don't remember what it is anymore, but I think I'm a music publisher and have been for about 25 or 30 years. So I've signed talent for a living, actually. And I think as I was sitting here trying to think of what is my common thread, I think that must be it. I am a talent finder and a promoter. So that started with music, and then that moved to actually a designer that lived here in town in Santa Barbara that I took to television. I'd never done any television, but we did 4 shows together. And then I did a project with Deborah. We created a product called Survival Tactics to Unbreak Your Heart. We did a number of shows, and we'd never done a product before, but got on lots of shows and had a blast. That's another theme, having fun with it. And this one is written by a couple who live here in town who wrote and exec produced The Nanny with Fran Drescher and Who's the Boss. They're incredible humans and an amazing comedic writers. And I was inspired. I was asked to help on the staged reading, so I invited 220 of my closest friends. We did 2 shows at the Granada here in Santa Barbara. And after that, I took them to New York, and we did a reading in New York with some amazing talent, Judy Greer, and just lots of great talent. And then we came back, did the Pasadena Playhouse. But each time I was going back and forth to New York. And I have to say, if there was any common thread in even starting with this project, all I did was I went to every single friend and I said, if you know somebody in theater, I am willing to meet them. So I did that with every single person I could think of, and I blindly met everybody. And everybody took me on that train to somebody else. And I can't tell you enough how it seems so simple. Well, it is so simple. You just ask for help and you get help. That's a trick. The trick is you have to ask for help. You have to be willing to say, I don't know. I have no problem. Because one of my very important meetings was set up by somebody here in town, and she said, you should meet my friend, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm happy to. I'm thrilled to. So I met her, and she was from Texas, and I can't do a Texas accent. But she did say to me, honey, if you're a friend of this person, you're a friend of mine. Sit down. What can I do for you? And I said, because now I knew what she did for a living, she was the head of all of the theatrical unions. And at the end of that, I said to her, I can't wait till I get to come back and meet with you and I know what I'm talking about. So I did come back and meet with her because I remembered she said Bob Wankel, the head of the Schubert Theaters worldwide, is my best friend. So I said I would love that introduction. We're at the Little Schubert Theater. There is a tie-in here. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't asked my friends for help. And if I hadn't followed up on it and hadn't collected and surrounded myself with a massive group of talent, trick, informed people, and in my personal opinion, lead with kindness, live near water, and as Lisa said at the very beginning, believe in angels and try to respect your fellow person. And I think if you lead with kindness and you start there, this is going to happen, whatever that ending is. Because I think if we can make the difference with one person on healthcare using laughter, because it's still the best medicine in my opinion, then we're there. Then we did it. So thanks. Thanks for coming out. If you get to New York, Under My Skin. Previews April 5th. Opens May 15th.
So you have to agree with me. This is an incredible panel. But I have a few minutes that I can take questions from the audience to anyone on this panel. You can ask a question, and if you, well, go ahead. Does anyone want to ask anybody? Yes. There's a, for Jennifer.
Is it on? Yes. Coincidentally, I had just signed the petition on Care for Causes for the PAW Project in Colorado. A friend had sent it to me, and I had just seen your YouTube video like a couple days ago. So my question is, what's going on in California for the PAW Project?
So the PAW Project, right now what we're trying to do is garner support for a statewide law. In 2009, the Veterinary Medical Association of California prevented me from being able to pass any more laws in cities. They effectively made a ban on banning declawing, so that I cannot ban in a city of California anymore. So that forced my hand, and I must now ban declawing at the state level in California. And I'm hoping, with the film coming out on Netflix on June 1st, it's already on iTunes and other video on demands, but Netflix I think is going to be the most popular way for people to see it. I'm hoping that that will incense the California residents about this procedure going on in our state, and I'm hoping that in 2015 we can begin legislation. And if you care to be part of it, please do, because this is a campaign of education. I make the laws because I cannot force veterinarians to stop doing this surgery that they make $1,200 an hour doing, but what will stop them is if the public says, I don't think you're humane for doing it. I think that that pressure will be very powerful.
So you have petitions, or what's?
So what I'm doing is garnering support by having people join the Facebook page so I can find you when I need you. I don't want to get people signing petitions right now, because what happens is with lawmakers, if they're not aware of what declawing is, they throw it away. It's more important that the public starts putting pressure on these people by saying, we want this outlawed in our state.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Another question?
For Raisa, I understand that over half of the population in Afghanistan is under the age of 18, and I'm wondering how, I'm thinking that you could change the face of that country by educating these girls. How many do you have, and what's your next steps, and how is that changing the culture?
Yes, there are under 18, I think more than half of the population. But things are changing, like the girls who could never go to school in Kabul. Right now we have over 7.5 million girls going to school. Although the school system is not the best, they stay in school maybe hour and a half. There are 6-7 sessions in a day because they don't have proper really arrangements for girls to be the whole day in school. As far as my school is, it's a school that runs 7 to 8 hours a day. I have 460 girls, and what I'm planning in a couple of years, hopefully, because those villages, there are 7 villages in that area, and they will not allow their daughters to go anywhere. So after they finish 12th grade, I'm hoping to create an institute for them in the same area, with maybe giving them 2 years of teacher training or nursing or computer science. So at least they can make a living. If they get married or they move, or maybe in a few years, they have that knowledge to use and make their life better. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, my question is for Lisa. How do we become your angels in this neighborhood right here? We have a group of people. Tell us how this group of women can become your angels and how we can help our community.
Well, you can either drop donations off with me. You can drop donations off with me, or you can drop them at the Mental Wellness Center where we can reach a greater number in need, I would say.
Can you just tell
What do
those
you
things
need?
are?
What is your wish list for what we can help you with?
Clean white socks.
Why?
Is very important. Absorbs the odor on a homeless foot. Oops, sorry. Also bacteria. Colored socks kind of exacerbate. The things that you get at a hotel, travel is very friendly. In a backpack, toothbrushes, things that you use every day that you wouldn't think of, but are needful things. Hygiene, blankets, jackets, sweaters.
Yoga mats.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I would just like to say thank you, Lisa, for sharing your story today and for being here. You're such an inspiration to all of us, and I think your message is really wonderful and something that we all needed to hear, and it's something that we can all get engaged in right away here in our community. So thank you very much. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I want to remind everybody tonight, we are, or later this afternoon, we're giving the Gutsy Gal Awards out to another group of wonderful, wonderful women. So please stop and see us this afternoon around 4 o'clock. I believe that's when it starts. And I want to thank everyone on my panel because it took courage. You prepared, she did it. We're represented well. You're going to hang in there with the with our little friends, our animal friends. Thank you so much. You're like climbing up a hill. This is courage. This is what it takes. Razia, you're going to keep going and help those girls. Kelly, God, let us know about all the abuse and say that give us some good thoughts on how we might just do the things that you said. Forgive first. Barbara, you're fighting the fight, but now I know that paralegal doesn't mean two legals. That's it. Marla, you made it sound like it was easy. It was not. This and this and this and this and this and that lady are the most tenacious women. And it doesn't take much. We just need to keep fighting for what we believe in, trying for what we want to do, and the rest of the day, have a good time. Thank you for coming to this panel of Gutsy Gals, and they hopefully inspired all of you. They sure inspired me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.